आवाज आ रही है ये फोनोग्राफ से, ढूंढो खुदा को दिल से, ना लाफो गजाफ से।
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the maiden episode of Future of Work on MTA Africa. I am Abdul Qadir Ismail Uluwagbemiga, your host for this groundbreaking series where we delve into the evolving landscape of work in our contemporary world. Future of Work is a program dedicated to exploring the dynamic changes and trends shaping the way we work today and in the future. In each episode, we'll bring you insightful discussions with experts, thought leaders, and practitioners from various fields. Our aim is to provide a comprehensive understanding of the trends reshaping the workplace, the skills needed to thrive, and the vast opportunities that lie ahead. We believe this program will inspire and equip you to navigate and succeed in this rapidly changing environment. In today's episode, we delve into a particularly pertinent topic, the art and science of work and its metamorphosis. As we navigate through an age where traditional job roles are blending with new, innovative career paths, this topic becomes increasingly relevant. The arts of work involves creativity, passion, and human ingenuity, while the science of work focuses on technology, efficiency, and data-driven decision-making. Together, they create a dynamic synergy that drives progress and innovation. Our discussion will explore how the work has transformed over the years, the key drivers behind these changes, and what the future holds. We'll examine the importance of balancing the artistic and scientific approaches of work to achieve both personal fulfillment and professional success. To engage in this discussion today, I have three esteemed guests with me in the studio. I have the head of human resource at AfriInvest West Africa, Mr. Lukman Aino. Mr. Lukman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me on the show. It is really, really my pleasure to be part of it.
Jazakumullahu khairan. We also have on call Dr. Abdul Sabur Abdul Salam. Dr. Abdul Salam holds a PhD in Peace, Security, and Strategic Studies. He is a Director of Academic Affairs at the University of Agriculture at Beokuta. It's a pleasure to have you join us on this show today.
Thank you very much.
We also have Movi Ayuba Abdul Mujib. Movi Ayuba is a missionary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat of Nigeria and the coordinator of Review of Religions magazine, Nigeria. Movi Sahib, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakumullahu khairan. We are very happy to have you on the show today. Before we continue, let us listen to people's views from the streets.
The work concept has undergone like a significant transformation because there has been a shift from the traditional 9 to 5 job to flexible remote jobs and gigs, and also there has been an increased work-life balance, and also there has been a rise in technology that increased productivity. So the work concept has changed a lot.
The knowledge I think will be crucial for my future career is first thing is digital literacy and technology. Okay, as I'm a front-end, as I'm a software developer, my skills span from JavaScript and PHP, Python. So I have to stay uh, with the trend of how the technology grows. So I must not limit myself to only one this thing. So I have to get evolving because this software of a thing keep on evolving day by day.
Welcome back. We have listened to what people have to say on the street. Now, Mr. Haina Sahib, having listened to people's view on the streets, can you please tell us in relatable terms, what do you think the concept of work means?
Thank you, my dear host. To my mind, work itself is as ancient as man. And what do I mean by this? Two things come to mind, right? If we look at the nature of man and how God has, who created us, has conditioned our survival to our environment, you will see that man has no choice but to work. Because without working, man may not survive. So the first part, the inherent nature of man, God did not create us to be idle. That's why you see, as human being, it's almost impossible to live all of your life without being engaged in any form of activity. If you are sedentary, if you are idle, I don't think the man will feel fulfilled because it's inbuilt in man to be active, right? And that is where work comes to play. And in our survival as human being, and determining the quality of life we want to live, we must interact with our environment. So God has created us human beings in this vast environment filled with numerous resources. But for us to survive, manna will not fall from heaven. We will need to interact with our environment to end that living, to end that survival. And if we want our life to improve, we must continue interacting with our environment. So if we look at these, two conditions, you will see why from time, at least if you look back, even till when started recording history, activities of man, you will see that work has always been part of man's life and existence.
What it means is that to you, the concept of work is, in relatable terms, can be termed as something that is tied to the essence of man or to the essence of the survival of man.
Exactly. So let's bring it home a bit. If we're talking definitions, right, in today's world, what we understand to be work has evolved over time. And it will continue to evolve, right? So by definition, what is work? Work is any human activity that is output focused and ultimately will lead to creation of value, right? So initially, from as far back as 40,000 years ago, when started recording history of man interaction with its environment, work is majorly at survival level, at subsistence level, right? So man has to interact with his environment. Looking back at Stone Age, when man was majorly involved in hunting and gathering to survive, when the whole focus of man was on food, provision of food, shelter, and clothing. But for man to get these things done, man had to interact with his environment. Then coming down to industrial age, where that shift, kind of entered the discussion. From that definition, three elements comes to the fore. Number one is engagement, which I've already said, interaction with the environment, output, and value. So the fourth element that came about during the industrial age was consideration. So consideration in terms of somebody or some, part of the society willing to pay for the value being, derived from work. And we didn't really get to that stage until the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, 20th century.
Jazakumullah khairan, Mr. Aina Sahib. We'll come back to you because I love the discussion. I would love where the discussion is ending. And having understood that work, when we mention the work, that's to do with engagement, output, and value. Jazakumullah khairan, sir. Now, Dr. Abdul Salam Sahib, having understood that work is an human activity that is output related and brings value. So the second question that comes to mind is there any difference, or do you think there is any difference or distinction between work and job?
Well, the two sometimes are used interwovenly, and there's always an impression that they are the same. But in real terms, when you go in depth into the two concepts, you'll find out that there is a significant difference between the concept of work and job. A job refers to a specific structured activity, a set of tasks that are aimed towards getting a compensation, while work is the utilization of your energy, your skills, and your knowledge for the purpose of achieving production. So when you look at it, you'll find a lot of people who are actually having jobs but are not working. And you'll find that, especially with due apologies maybe to a lot of people who are in government, parastatals, and a lot of things, who actually have jobs, but when you look at it, they are not working. We also have a large number of people who are working but do not have jobs, because jobs have to do with a structured pattern of engagement towards the goal of having compensation, having payment, whereas work may not necessarily mean that you are requesting for compensation. It could even be for personal self-fulfillment. It could be for, but a job is not for self-fulfillment. Largely it's for compensation, it's for payment at the end of the day. So there's a lot of difference between job and work. But ordinarily, on its face value, you might think that they are the same.
Oh, Jazakumullahu khairan, Dr. Abdul Salam Sahib. Now we understand the distinction between work and job. And I know by now we should be able to distinguish between these two terms. Jazakumullahu khairan once again. Maulvi Abdul Mujib Sahib, having understood the concept of work and the distinction between work and job, can you please give us an insight into the Islamic perspective of work? What does Islam say about work, and how does Islam view the concept of work?
The concept of work in Islam cannot be overemphasized, as Allah the Almighty and His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has laid emphasis on working hard and working intelligently in order for man to make the world a better place to live, and in order to gain the pleasure of Allah the Almighty. Allah the Almighty states in Surah An-Najm verse 40 that وَأَن لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى, that is, and there is nothing for man except that which he strives for. That points to the fact that it is not possible for man to get anything except what he strives for, either spiritually, either materially, or whatever thing he wants to gain in this life, or
in order to even get the pleasure of Allah the Almighty in the hereafter, man has to strive for it in this life. And it also points to the fact that it is not possible to gain anything which Allah the Almighty has given us in this world. It is not possible to gain it except by striving. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has also mentioned in one of his traditions, which is recorded in the book of Hadith, that he states that وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. That is, it is possible for man to get whatever he wants, and whatever he strives for, he would get it. And this points to the fact that whatever man strives for, because Allah the Almighty has created man such that he can get whatever he strives for. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has laid emphasis on working hard, so much so that he mentioned that وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ, and by him in whose hand my life is, لَأَنْ يَأْخُذَ أَحَدُكُمْ حَبْلَهُ فَيَحْتَطِبَ عَلَى ظَهْرِهِ خَيْرٌ لَهُ مِنْ أَنْ يَأْتِيَ رَجُلًا فَيَسْأَلَهُ أَعْطَاهُ أَوْ مَنَعَهُ. That is, it is better for any one of you to go into the forest and cut wood and tie them with his rope and carry the wood on his back to sell in order to earn a living. It is better for him than he should go to a particular person to beg for something. The person may give him or he may not give him. That is, he will be at the mercy of the person. Either he gives him or not. So it is better for someone to work hard than he should go to people begging. In order for us to work hard, we need to also pray to Allah the Almighty so that we can get the right path, and we should also seek for guidance from those people who are in that line.
Jazakumullahu khairan, Mavi Sahib. Mr. Aina Sahib, now we are back to you. You know, we're having a very interesting discussion about the concept of work. But right now, I want you to please tell us about how the concept of work has changed consistently from the pre-modern time to the modern time, to some people argue that we are now in the post-modern era. So how the concept of work has consistently changed over time.
Thank you once again, dear host. It's the journey it's long, right? But we have opportunity to look at some key happenings at different points in history to break it down. So to dimension this, there are different ways, to paint that picture, that journey from pre-modern time to modern time to post-modern time. But I will like to use the simplest one that will show that trend, that movement. And in explaining that, I would say the transformation of work has gone through 3 stages, right? So at the initial time, we had the work that was primarily focused on the extractive industry. So that's the primary sector. So extractive meaning that work was majorly centered around what man is able to gain directly from the interaction with his environment.
Okay.
Right. I'd mentioned the Stone Age, when man had to just, nomadic in nature, go around for survival, hunting, and gathering things. Then that moved on to the horticultural age, where man settled a bit. We were able to farm, we were able to cultivate, we were able to domesticate animal. Then moved on to the agrarian, age, where farming was predominant, right? Then we had the secondary sector, where from extractive industry, we moved to manufacturing. And that came with the onset of the Industrial Revolution, right, in the 19th century. Right, started in Great Britain, then moved on to United States, and then the rest of Europe. So with introduction of machine, we have steam powered machine. So we had the manufacturing line. So work became specialized, right? So work was broken down into processes, and specialization set in. So that changed, a whole lot about even the societal view of work at that point in time. Work basically moved from basically looking for survival to now a situation where, due to compartmentalization of work, we had a sector of the society willing to pay consideration for value, right? So as a worker, I can go to the assembly line, work towards production of output, value, and I will get paid for it, right? Then we moved to the 20th century, 21st century, where work now became predominantly service, right? But one thing to say is that particularly between the Industrial Revolution and post-industrial revolution, we're not saying, the manufacturing is not happening. Manufacturing is still happening, right? But we're saying that the emergence of services, right, change, the realities of work. With manufacturing, there were other value chain ancillary services that came on board. So from production, then produced output needed to be transported, to other areas. Logistics came in, right? Financing came in. So the emergence of services, really changed the face of work, and again, societal value that is attached to work. So we are in the postmodern era, just like you mentioned. Now, the rise of the gig economy, knowledge-driven economy, the rise of independent contractors. We now have situations where we have large corporations who have just a small core workforce, but they're able to operate all around the globe. How are they able to do this? They sit in their country of origin, maybe establish offices here and there, but they're able to engage workforce. And at the heart of this development and transformation over time, what's very important in the scheme of things happened to be industrial revolution, technological advancement in science and technology. We have things like automation come into play, computing, and globalization of capital. Now, these days, talent is able to move rapidly with, wherever capital is. So I'm here in Nigeria, I can work from anywhere in the whole world, right? So the workers we have it today, the talent market is now a global talent market, right? And all of these interactions and realities, they bring different dimensions and dynamics into conversation about work and earning a living, and even the quality of life of workers.
Wow, that was quite a journey, a very long journey, like you said at the beginning, moving from the extraction area to the horticulture, agrarian, to the time of service, and to the time where we have the talent hunt right now. Jazakumullah khairan for that valuable insight. Thank you so much. Dr. Abdulsalam Sahim, we have understood the journey of work from the pre-modern era to the modern era to the post-modern era. Now, we want you to please tell us, what do you think the future of work looks like? How do you think the future of work is going to be? Probably at a time where we'll be having another era different from the one we have right now.
We should be looking at areas or fields of study that are relevant and can apply to the fourth industrial or technological revolution. And those fields of study should be fields of study that will be relevant to those areas. The world is evolving, but I can assure you that some areas that will continue to remain relevant, agriculture, for example, will continue to remain relevant. Medicine and nursing treating of people in terms of health will continue to remain relevant. Because we're in a society where at the end of the day there must be, or we are in a world where there must be regulation of society. To that extent, security studies, criminology will remain relevant. Law will remain relevant. On the flip side, we also have the introduction of artificial intelligence, AI, which is just coming up. Those are fields of studies that are evolving, and those are fields of studies that one should encourage the youths to introduce themselves into, particularly when we look at the issue of computers, IT, and what have you. AI, artificial intelligence, is seeking to take over the world.
Jazakumullah khairan, Dr. Sahib. We are quite sure that the future of work is quite promising, and everyone needs to embrace this future of work. Beloved viewers, it is time to listen to the guidance of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, the worldwide head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hadrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. May Allah be his helper.
Present day world technology is advancing. You should also go into this field. There should be our technologically advanced persons who even reach to the pinnacle of that field. Technology, law, professor, research. Even in research, I have asked the students, I'm trying to encourage the students to go into research. I told you that Khalifatul Masih Salis even asked that we need 1,000 topmost scientists at the end of our first century, or 100 Nobel Prize winners at the end of the century. So that does not mean that we should only focus on being lawyer and a doctor or something. In each and every field we should go, and we should try to reach the maximum level of that field.
Viewers, that is the guidance from Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V on the future of work. Mr. Aina Sahib, we have listened to the guidance of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, and you have indeed taken us through a very long journey about work and the future of work. Can you please leave our audience with something to hold on to about the future of work?
Thank you, host. Like I've tried to communicate that work has evolved over time, and as we've heard, it will continue to evolve. As man continue to interact, and as we go forward in seeking advancements, better livelihood, better quality of life, our interaction with our environment, we keep bringing up changes, and these changes will keep affecting what we term as work. God being so good and gracious to us human beings, He has endowed us with that ability to change and transform with time, so that at every point in time of our existence, we are able to interact with whatever phenomena that is in operation to ensure our survival.
Jazakumullah khairan for your time and your invaluable insight that you have provided today.
My pleasure. Happy to be useful.
To our beloved viewers, Jazakumullahu khairan for being with us throughout this program. It's our hope that you continue to be with us on this program to gain valuable insight into the ever-changing landscape of the future of work and how we can fit in to that ever-changing landscape of work. For comments, observations, and questions, please contact us via africa@mta.tv. I remain your host, Abdul Qadir Ismail Uluwagbeninga. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
जब तक अमल नहीं है दिले पाको साफ से, जब तक अमल नहीं है दिले पाको साफ से, कमतर नहीं ये मशगला बुत के तवाफ से, कमतर नहीं ये मशगला बुत के तवाफ से।